Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Aftermath. I'm appropriately wearing black for what I hope will be the eventual end of Eric Mangini
The
and Chris Palmer, and now
Eric Mangini.
Gwen Stefanski. Um, eh, you know, I everybody's talking about this. Sounds like a Nilsson song.
Everybody's talking.
But, a lot of people are focusing in on the obvious things, which are, why did he why didn't he run the ball? Why did he pass the ball?
Why did
how
they
did that
punt
happen?
the ball if they didn't make the first down?
All of that. And
I get it.
from a 59-second video that is readily exists on the internet, I have a far more serious question about the competence of Kevin Stefanski and whether he should be terminated tomorrow.
Yeah.
And not waiting till the end of the year. Now, I know they'll wait till the end of the year if need be. But there are things that don't make sense, or they make perfect sense. I'm not, and you know that I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, and I'm not going to be presenting something like that. And we're going to bring in Hammer Time as well on this. I'm not going to guess what the circumstance is here. I'm going to ask questions. My responsibility is not to break stories because I don't have contacts. I ask questions that I think need to be asked and answered. So here we go. You want to know what Kevin Stefanski, not today, but right after the game, had to say. You've probably heard this. You may have seen this. But don't skirt over the end, because therein lies the problem. All right. So we're going to start this out, and you should be hearing sound across the Moohead Radio platform. And here we go. You ready? Here we go.
Kevin, coming out of the timeout, the final drive, you guys had run the ball well. What was the thinking throwing the ball in that situation?
Yeah, obviously with the interception, with the outcome, you're always thinking, what can you do differently? We can't. We had options there. Certainly you can run it. Certainly you can pass it. But the result was
Here it comes.
That was tough.
We didn't see if the ball went off the helmet, but what were you trying to do there?
It was a quick game play. I have to look at it, but it was a quick play.
That's all I needed to hear. I'll do it again.
That was tough.
We didn't see if the ball went off the helmet, but what were you trying to do there?
It was a quick game play. I have to look at it, but it was a quick play.
Now, all right, you get the drift? Where is everybody?
Yeah. Hello. I was muted. We were all muted. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. I can stop sharing this now. All right. So, you got the drift. Here's my question. We all know that we have choices. You could have run the ball. You could have passed the ball. He didn't tell us anything. But when the guy says, well, we didn't see the ball hit off the helmet, what happened? And he jumped in and he said it was a quick play. It was quick play. All right. First of all, he called the motherfucker. I have to look at it. You're telling me that right after the game, the cocksucker didn't even remember what the play was that he called? That's my first question. But my second question is the more profound one. By telling the world that it was a quick play, let's see if your knowledge of football equates to the way I'm thinking. Jim, if somebody says something is a quick play, what does that mean to you?
You're muted. You're muted, Jim.
Wait, Jim. I'm sorry. I have to unmute you. And he's not unmuting for some reason.
Oh,
Now I'm
he is.
unmuted.
Oh,
There you go.
No, you're not.
Either something that was drawn up in the dirt, or it was something that was supposed to be something that didn't take a lot of time to develop. So,
Right. And I'm not, they obviously didn't draw it up in the dirt. We're not going to go for the conspiracy theory concept. And,
Or I would say it was a play that didn't use a lot of clock time to huddle up, or like it was like a quick play after the it was quick in time after the previous play. That's what I'm guessing.
all right. And
Catch them
here's
off guard, catch the defense off guard somehow.
Here's what it tells me, because it was coming on the heels of a timeout. So it wasn't a quick play in the sense that we ran up to the line and tried to fool it, right?
Yes,
Right.
It was after a timeout.
Right. So it couldn't have been a quick play that way. There's only one way it could be a quick play. A quick play can be translated in professional football as a one read. In other words, it's a quick play that's designed to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands as fast as possible to a prescribed receiver or a prescribed location on the field.
Yep.
So what this means is the play that was called, all the video you're seeing of Ford being open over the middle and Njoku being open on the left, did not matter.
Yep, it did not matter at all if he was focused in on one location.
He was.
Throwing the
It was
ball.
a quick play. He has to go back to look at it so he can come up with some kind of explanation. But he knows damn well what it was. It was designed as a one read. And the man either was not open and was covered, and Jamal got his helmet in the way and plunked it up in the air.
Yeah.
So what I can tell you is this: by him acknowledging this in the press conference and saying that, well, I have to take a look at that, not only was he in no position to defend it, he didn't even try to defend it. And he acted as if he was almost unfamiliar with the play, except that it was a quick play. Now, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you'd say, did this man design that playbook? Did that man make that call himself? I mean, most guys that I know who are head coaches would be able to be specific, especially because he's the coach and an offensive coordinator. He could have gone into not great depth, but, we felt confident that going to Amari was the right thing to do. And unfortunately, somebody got in between him and the ball, and it went up in the air, and they ended up intercepting it. All right. That's not what he did. He has to look at it on film. He's unfamiliar with something, and why he's unfamiliar, I don't know. But be that as it may, that's where I begin in all of this, because it's horseshit. The reason it's horseshit is I got something from Dave Stefanski just before the show that today Stefanski was shooting his mouth off because players are discontented with what he did. First of all, Kareem Hunt.
Oh,
Kareem Hunt
no.
actually had the courage to vocalize, saying that he was disappointed he didn't get a chance to close out the game like he did the week before.
He did.
Try to quote him,
Oh, this is depressing.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Was it for him to churn out tough yards only to get overlooked in the clutch? Here's the
Oh,
quote. I didn't get a chance the whole fourth quarter, so it's cool. I don't know. I just go and play my role. That's what I do. He was asked if he was surprised the Browns threw in that situation. I mean, I guess he said, I don't know. It's up to Stefanski. He makes the calls, but he didn't try to hide his dismay, according to the article in Cleveland.com. It is what it is, he said. I feel like I could have helped the win. So immediately, Stefanski today, when he's asked about Kareem Hunt's disenchantment about what happened, Stefanski came out, and I see my signal again is getting messed up, and I reset my end. So this is all, yeah, okay. This is all on
It's Stefanski's
StreamYard.
fault.
Yeah, it's all on StreamYard. It's not anything on my end. He came out and he said, well, we have Ford, we have Strong, and, he goes, I like the players who want to play here.
Fuck, he didn't, did he?
Yeah, he did. I like the players who want to play.
I like the players here too. I just don't like the coach.
So,
Thank you. I'm here all week.
My feeling about all of this is, if it were just Kareem Hunt, I'd say, well,
yeah, maybe.
There's an issue there. All right. However, there's more.
Oh no!
But wait, there's more.
On the other side, it was regret for the Browns. No one outright questioned this decision, but there was regret. I just play, left tackle Jedrick Will said. Do the best we can with circumstances given, and I mean, yeah, that's about it.
Oh no.
So here's the deal. And just use your brains a little bit here, folks. I mean, Kareem Hunt would come out and say what he said. Jedrick Wills is going to kind of hop around it. But you can imagine if these two guys felt that way, every one of the offensive linemen feels this way. I mean, if Joel Bitonio came back 1 week after a knee scope, so this would happen? I mean, do you really think that anybody in that offense believes that the head coach believes in them? You wonder why it's a total offensive clusterfuck ever since this ass clown came to Cleveland. Yep. Why a guy who lived in a manufactured home could pick out better plays than his predecessor, and when it came time to get the new coach, Kevin Stefanski, he insisted on calling the plays himself, and he won't let anyone call the plays, except the one time that AVP did, and we won. So what's the deal here? We got a bunch of offensive players. Why do you think that DPJ is underperforming? Why do you think nobody's going to want to come back here? Nobody wants to play here. They're not being used. How can you say you're trying to help out a young quarterback when you put the whole load on his shoulders and he's an XFL practice squad guy? How?
It's not his fault, yeah.
And, it's a real shame. Just a real shame that now half the locker room's lost. The other half, the defense, who's also taking shit on Twitter, let's think of it this way. Everyone on that sideline couldn't have been ready to scramble and come back on the field because they figured out, we're gonna go for a 3rd and 3 here, and we don't get it, we'll punt them deep,
punt the ball, and then we'll have stop them for 85 yards or whatever.
But instead, Stefanski gave them all the momentum and the loud crowd and the whole 9 yards, and it was over in a flash. And you could say, oh, the defense gave it up. The defense is what kept us in the game. Our offense hasn't really kept us in any fucking game we've been in. And when we win, it seems that the takeaways are the primary reason that we win. And we don't have wide receivers who catch touchdown passes. Look at the stats. How many touchdown passes have our wide receivers caught?
Oh God, no. I mean,
One.
yeah.
It's one or two. That's
Yeah,
it.
Cooper had one, and I'm at a loss for anyone else.
Yep.
Njoku had one yesterday.
Yeah, but that was like that was yards.
He's
after
a tight
catch.
end, not
Yeah,
a wide
yeah.
receiver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's been
No,
so
that-
few passes even thrown into the end zone to be caught for a touchdown that it's I don't know, it's pretty rare.
And this isn't, you see, and people are responding to what I'm putting up on social media and saying one play doesn't decide a game. And I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
Now.
You never heard of the Immaculate Reception?
Make it stop.
I mean, what lengths will people go to just be in denial? It's like
Oh, that hurts.
one play changes the momentum of a game considerably, and giving a team the ball near midfield with 1:58 left is tantamount to definitely giving up the tying field goal. And it put the defense on their heels right off the bat, and it got the crowd right into the game.
Right. I mean, you said the Immaculate Reception. When I think of one play changing the game, the first one that pops into my head was the one that Ohio State won the national championship against Miami with the dodgy pass interference call in the end zone. You know, that came back from the dead and won that game. That's the play I think of. So, yeah, one play's change every game, every sport.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go back to an honorable man, not a dishonorable man like Kevin Stefanski.
Bertigliano, probably.
Yep. He didn't have any trouble saying what Red Right 88 was, did he?
No, he put his hand up straight away, and he was an upright guy, you know, or still is an upright guy. Yeah.
The fact of the matter was, not only did he know the play by name, and it became part of Brown's unfortunate folklore, yeah.
Folklore.
But he told everybody what was supposed to happen, and that Sipe was just supposed to throw the ball away if a certain number of conditions happen. And the reason is Sam did the playbook. Sam knew. This clown didn't know. He has to look at it on film. He doesn't know the play. That's the scary part of all of this, folks.
How can you
If
call
somebody
plays and
asks
not
you
know
a
the
question
play?
straight up and you don't have the answer, and you just say, I'm going to have to look that up. I mean, imagine a student taking a test who says, well, I got to open my book and get the answer to that one. You don't know. Yeah, and Radu, that's exactly right. One field goal sure did make a difference against San Fran, didn't it? And this is right, too. You try to get the first down, then you pin them deep. Whatever happened to basic sense?
Well, I think he's got too much going on in his head during these games. He can't call plays and manage the game and manage whatever else he's doing at the same time. I mean, it's like he's got ADHD.
Well, I got a better one for you, even. If you don't believe how dumb this man is and how ill-equipped he is to have the job that he has, and I've said the same thing about Joe Woods last year, and I'm saying the same thing about this ass clown. He's not qualified. The results prove that he's not qualified.
Yeah.
He actually inserted Dorian Thompson-Robinson for one play in the game.
He did.
Do you know why?
No idea whatsoever.
Because he had to run his little shovel pass. Don't you remember that
Yeah,
PJ
the little
Walker
shovel
doesn't
pass.
know how to do that? He hit Njoku in the face with it.
Correct. Yeah, he
And
did.
don't you remember that he pitched the ball 100 miles an hour backwards to Ford and went right by him, basically?
Yeah,
People don't remember from week to week.
he did do that.
So, he brings out a play and he brings in a cold quarterback to run the play because the guy who's now his starting quarterback, it's
Can't
like
run
he
the play.
acknowledges either A, he can't do that, or B, this quarterback will never be able to do it because it's all negative reinforcement with this ass clown. It's basically, it's like you're coming off the field because you fucked this play up last week. All right.
Yeah.
Now, and the same attitude about Kareem Hunt. Well, I like players who want to play.
Well, Kareem Hunt's like that ex-girlfriend who gets dumped, and then the current girlfriend you have dumps you, and then you go back to that ex-girlfriend. That's pretty much what we've done to Kareem Hunt. We loved him, we dumped him, and then we've gone crawling back to him. So we should be fucking on our knees with Kareem Hunt. It's ridiculous to throw him under the bus. But anyway.
It's all illustrated that people in that locker room have to be so frustrated that look how it freed our defense getting Joe Woods the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Now, every team gives up big plays, and the team that you all were jizzing over is now 5-3 because they lost to the Bengals at home.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that if you look at Kyle Shanahan's history, he is not a player-friendly guy.
He's not the Messiah. He is not the Messiah.
So much, is made of Bill Belichick.
Oh, God.
And for my money, give me a coach who motivates players. And I don't mean crazy motherfuckers like Rex and Rob Ryan. I don't mean crazy motherfuckers.
Or Lombardi was pretty nuts too, frankly.
Yeah, I don't mean
Woody
that.
Hayes was nuts.
But somebody who knows what it's about. Jim Schwartz knows what it's about. He's seen the wars. He knows. And, of course, he's not happy with what happened the last 7 plays or whatever, 6-7 plays of the game. Of course, he's not happy with that. But nobody expected that they would have to be rushed out on the field like that. And the confusion that ensued didn't surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise anyone because the head coach created the situation.
Yeah.
And Jim, he knows the play. He doesn't want to respond to anything unless it is measured. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He's not even creative enough to come up with an answer to a question. So he puts it off saying, I have to see it on film. And then he'll say, we all have to be better. And that'll be the end of it. That's his strategy. He didn't know the fucking play. He did not know it. He knew it was a quick play. But if he explained it too much, it would have been obvious that it was a one read. That it was either Amari getting the ball or nobody getting the ball. And he was supposed to throw it away. If that guy wasn't open, he was supposed to throw it away. Sick of this. Of course he knows, but he's not even man enough to admit that he fucked up. I mean, Steve Wilkes was man enough to say a day after, man, I shouldn't have run that all-out blitz, man. That was a bad call on my part. People who are stand-up, upright, honest people could be honest about themselves.
And they'll get more respect in return. I mean, people would respect Stefanski if he was just a bit more fucking forthright and honest and stand-up. But he isn't, so...
Yeah. And, Jim is saying, quarterbacks play better when he's gone. And I think the same thing could be said about
yeah.
Joe Woods as a defensive
Woods,
coordinator. Yeah. You don't get the most out of the players that you have. And it's so hard to judge running backs, wide receivers. For all I know, Cedric Tillman could be really, really good, and we're never going to see him because he was on the inactive list because the coach don't fucking like him. There's this kind of shit going down, and I know it now because when he comes back and he makes that little snide comment referring to Kareem Hunt's given his all. He came into this situation with no training before the season began, except whatever he was doing at home. Not sure he was ever going to get a job this year.
Yeah.
And he played through hurt, pain, his thigh injury. He did everything he was asked of him. And then he was thanked by being sat down the whole fourth quarter. It was like, no, we're done using you. And it's the same fucking thing he did to him before. And it was, well, that's because Nick Chubb's the primary running back and this and that. Whatever happened to staying with the hot hand? Whatever happened with that? I mean, what would happen if Donovan Mitchell got into one of his,
70-point moods?
Yeah. And Bickerstaff says to him, no, we're going away from you now.
We're not playing you now.
I know you've got 58 points, but it's not going to get any better than that. Sit down, boy. How would you like that? That's what he did. He sat his ass down. Oh, well, we wanted a fresh Jerome Ford. And what did that give you? It just seems amazing that every single time we brought our jumbo in, we got what we were looking for.
Oh, God, yeah.
It did not fail the entire game. So why would he go away from something that the other team simply didn't know how to stop? Here's another thing. Adams, the guy whose ball beamed him and went up in the air,
Yep.
he was blitzing. Why do you think he was blitzing?
Because he knew it was a pass play.
Ah, there you go. Transparency. Everybody knows what this ass clown's going to do before he does it.
Yeah, with
God
TJ Watt.
damn.
TJ Watt knows the week before what plays are going to run.
Yeah.
So
I just don't get it. And I never will get it. And it's a waste of my time, a waste of
definitely a
your
waste of my
time,
yeah.
and our money to go through this year after year. Either get somebody in there who's capable of coaching a football team, or just give us our money back. This is horseshit. You wonder why the fans start booing and the attitude of people is so bad. Well, part of it is because social media has made it worse.
Yeah.
I'd be the first to tell you that.
Yeah.
But, and people threw bottles at Bottlegate and all that. They didn't throw bottles at their own players. No. Now we just throw bombs at our own players. And I haven't been wrong yet. Since I started this podcast, I haven't been wrong about a coach yet. No. The results speak for themselves. Hugh Jackson, I knew was a complete nincompoop and a troublemaker to boot.
He's a fraud. He's an absolute fraud. He is.
Say one thing, do another. He's bad news. And he ain't anywhere now, and he'll never be anywhere. He's a piece of shit. Why he was even hired, I have no idea. But you give somebody the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt, I know 1 in 31. I think that's kind of like overdoing it. But that's what we choose, or what the Browns organization chooses to give its fan base as a thank you for paying top dollar to see the football games, is to hang with a nincompoop like that through 1 in 31. And then we had to look at Freddie Kitchens and how Freddie Kitchens killed Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
And we had to sit through that, and we knew that stuttering manufactured home living hillbilly, that guy didn't have the smarts to be a head coach. And now he's hanging on playing, coaching tight ends for the Giants, who were 1-6. He's happy he's employed, let alone being a head coach. It's what the organization, from ownership to ownership, from the learners to Haslam, this is what they give us. And you're fools if you're paying for it. You're fools. That's what I'll tell you. You're fools. There's no reason to economically support people, and the players get paid. All right, take a huge risk, but Jedrick Wills knows that he's one step away from Taco Bell. He's one step away from the XFL. You fail in the NFL, where do you go to play football? It's either you play in some goofy league like that, or you just have to. Yeah, you become a high school coach. Yeah.
You go to Alabama,
and you gain another 75 pounds. You end up with heart trouble, whatever it is. You become like Refrigerator Perry. You go fishing for the rest of your life, become morbidly obese. That's what happens. And I guess I don't understand what's so hard about interviewing people and hiring competent people, but it eludes these owners. Randy Lerner, I told you he had a social problem. All right. And he obviously got out of Cleveland, and he didn't want to be in Cleveland. And then he started his shit in England, and he just bungled everything because he didn't earn any of the money to begin with. And unfortunately, his father wasn't around long enough for us to really know what the deal was there. And now we have Haslam, and the first thing we know about Jimmy was that he hosed people. He cheated people out of money. So we know everything we need to know about him. And it's never going to change. It's never going to get better. If you want to pile up heartache, feel free. The answers are right in front of your face. I mean, when I see what I'm seeing, I mean, these are questions, but they're questions that the answers, no matter what answer you ascribe to him just saying it was a quick play and I got to look at it. And you've seen two. You've seen mine and then Jim in the chat room saying, well, he didn't want to misstep in essence. Of course, didn't want to misstep because that he's stepping on his own dick. And he ain't going to do that. And the players, well, getting paid is more important, unless you're Kareem Hunt, in which case, well, you got a big mouth. What I'll do is I'll quote from Glengarry Glen Ross. Shelly, you got a big mouth. That's why I don't like you. Nobody wants to turn the knife on themselves. It's too late for Stefanski to change the way he is. It's too far into his life for him to change. The future of the Browns organization lies with firing him. And I know what people are saying. Well, you look at his overall record. It's like, no. You look at the decisions. He had nothing to do with us beating the 49ers. The fact that they missed a field goal. If that field goal had gone through, it was like, the defense gave it up again. No one would talk about Stefanski. So, any way you answer the questions, the results are all the same. Our offense stunk with Baker Mayfield, and we with Watson, I'll be honest with you, he'll ruin Watson too if he hasn't. If that injury hasn't already.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ruins everything he touches. He's fucked up the confidence of DTR permanently based on the way he's handled that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, persona non grata, and it's like, you come in and you show PJ how to throw a shovel pass. Now get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore. I've never seen in my life a guy get a starting opportunity when he'd never played in a professional football game. He'd never even played at a full speed NFL game. And then when he's overwhelmed by it, it's like, sit down and you're never playing again. I've never in my life seen such a thing. And from that moment on, it only galvanized the way I feel about Kevin Stefanski. I don't like him. If I met him personally, I would not like him. He's headstrong. He's not willing to be open-minded about things. He throws his players under the bus, and he will not take responsibility. Instead of standing up like a man and said, that play, well, I probably should have called a run. Then you see, then he's playing Hamlet in his head, and people say he's weak. So he wants to be strong. So he lies. And what he says is, well, we're all accountable. Now I'll quote Robert De Niro in This Boy's Life with Leonardo DiCaprio. What about me? What about me? All right. Because that's all it's about with Kevin Stefanski. He doesn't protect his players. It's pathetic. If this sounds like a rant, it's not a rant. It's an indictment of one man. That's what it is. And that was no explanation of why he threw the ball. It was just a jumbled mass of words. Obviously, with the interception, with the outcome, you're always thinking, what could you do differently? Stefanski said. We had options there. Certainly you could run. Certainly you can pass it. But the result, that was tough. No, let me be honest about this for Kevin Stefanski, because he can't be honest for himself. The decision that he made created the result that lost the game. Now, the way he said, certainly you could run, you could pass, but the result, that was tough. It was you. You set everything in motion. And the reason? You're a head coach and an offensive coordinator, and you won't give it up. What does AVP do? We need an offensive coordinator. And we need a head coach. We need two things. We don't need an all-in-one. We need a head coach who, I'll give you an example of Terry Francona.
Yeah.
Is Terry Francona, is he like the best strategy? Is he like better than Earl Weaver?
Probably not, no.
All right. But everybody who ever played for him enjoyed playing for him and did their job better.
Yeah, and they played above their abilities for him, where you put a lesser person in charge. And we're going to find that out next year when we tumble down to 90 to 100 losses with the same players.
Right. I mean, he buoyed the spirit of players, even though they didn't have any guys who could hit the long ball, and that's all front office bullshit. He made do the best he could, but quite honestly, his health suffered, and not only that, he saw the end of the road. He's no dummy.
Yeah.
And you just don't see guys like this change. He is the way he is.
I mean, Stefanski, if you want to compare him to other Cleveland managers, you'd almost like dig out Byron Scott from that period of the Cavaliers when he ruined players that were better than but they made them worse than what they actually were.
Oh, I'll tell you, the ultimate example was David Blatt.
Yeah, and David Blatt too.
And something that people didn't realize about David Blatt. And first of all, another Ivy League guy. Another guy who's know-it-all because he won some championship out overseas.
Turkey or whatever.
Yeah. So he knew. And he came in to NBA players acting like he knew. And you know what he was most famous for?
Tell me.
Womanizing.
What? Wow. No, I didn't know that.
Well, it's about time somebody spoke up.
Wow. No, that's.
And I'm not going to tell you what type of woman that he had a fetish for, but I know that too. Players couldn't stand the motherfucker. Couldn't stand him. He was so
Wow.
conceited and so full of himself. I'm the coach of the Cavaliers. I can get laid. Him.
Wow.
And he got blown out way earlier. They had it with him in a heartbeat because in the NBA, you lose the locker room and you play,
Oh, well, it's
82 games a
instantaneous.
year,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
you
over.
that's probably the worst locker room to lose is an NBA locker room because there's definitely no way of coming back, and there's not enough guys to turn it around. So yeah,
And you
that's
have
over.
stars, you have
And you have
superstars,
stars.
and he knew more than the stars did, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
What about Rob? How you doing, my friend? What's up, Moo? How about Will Levis? And my answer to your question is, how about Brock Purdy? All right. Look, anybody can be good for 5 games or
Correct.
2
We've seen
games
that.
or
Yeah, we've
3
seen that.
games. Gardner Minshew had his day and his moment. So did Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah.
Great
Oh.
to see the young man do well in Tennessee. I think it's beautiful. Is it sustainable? Well, that's why we have time ahead of us. We'll see. But it's great for him. He has something to tell his grandkids about. But, it's what's happening now. And I say time is what tests everything out. And I am analyzing Kevin Stefanski not on this year. It's every year he's been here.
It's full body of work. I mean,
And I'm done.
yes.
I'm telling you, he's a bow wow. He's a loser. And he's a loser because he thinks more about himself than the people around him. He's the wrong man for the job. For that job anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we should got rid of him at the bye week last year, but we didn't. So, yeah. Jeremy Lin's another person who had a few good games, and then I was trying to think the ultimate example of what you were just saying.
Lynn Sanity. That's right.
Insanity. He even had a nickname, so Lynn Mania or whatever. Jeremy Lin.
You know how obvious this is?
How obvious is it?
Terry Pluto and I agree. That's how obvious this is. I mean,
and you two couldn't be any more different, I would think, there you go.
And people want to talk about analytics. There's no logic here. This is one man feeding his ego that he's calling the plays and he's doing this and he's doing that. And he's never going to be a good coach because he's never going to grow to have the authority that he desires. He's just going to take it because of his title. That's all this is.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh, this will make you laugh. When I forced my family to watch the 49ers game 2 weeks ago, wife sees Stefanski on the TV, and she goes, "Who's the guy with the George Clooney beard?" And I just looked at her.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you for that.
George Clooney beard. No, it's not George Clooney, dear.
Oh, it's better than Betty Davis thighs. Even Ashley Bastock, who writes for Cleveland.com, I mean, she and I agree. Brown's offense should have leaned into strengths on fateful 3rd down call. It doesn't take a genius to, and it isn't hindsight.
I mean, even Hoinsey would agree with this one.
I mean,
Hey, Hoinsey.
God.
Oh, what would Peter Alice say? Come on, let's lighten the mood a little bit. I'm too depressed as it is. Oh,
Well, and that's going to cheer you up.
yeah, it will, because it'll make me laugh.
No, okay, well, no better. That it should be John Madden who explains it.
Boom.
The idea here, everybody thinks you're going to run the ball because you've been running the ball so successfully. So I'm going to get the telestrator out, and I'm going to say, you bring a man over here, you bring a man here, over here. These are all decoys, because what you're really going to do is run the football. And what you're really going to do is you're going to sneak a guy out onto the field who's 375 pounds, and he's going to go crashing into the line, and you run your running back right behind him, and you push his tush, and you get the first down. Bang, boom, tough acting, tenactin'. Oh, please. And this headline really kills me. A bright future still in the Browns' grasp. I'm sorry, it's over, folks.
No.
It's over.
We may play the Cardinals next week, but no.
They're believe me, demoralized. This is what this coach does best. I mean, right now, I'm picking the Cardinals to win.
Yeah. I'm
you know why? Because it will be Joshua Dobbs' revenge games. Like, I had to play for this motherfucker, and I'm going to kick his ass. That's why everybody gets up playing against Stefanski. If you played for him, you'd know.
The Cardinals are going to be fired up for this one.
And, you know, the thing that's amazing, Jason, to me, thanks for your comment, all you hear from Stefanski is
protect the ball.
Ball security. Ball security. So you tell me how the call.
Right here.
How do you come up with that call when you say the most important thing is ball security? Because the rules only apply to the guy who fumbles it, not to him.
Yeah.
This is an obvious frailty in his character.
Yeah, it's a bait and switch on responsibility. Yeah.
We have, gentlemen, swag, we do have the talent. We're good enough to make the playoffs. Yes, we are. Not going to happen.
We may even be good enough to win our division, but yeah, you need to do the New York guy doing ball security. I got your ball security.
You know something, Stefanski? I got your ball security right here. Right here.
Sure.
Give a little tug there, Kev. Oh, God. Balls in the face. Oh!
This is a hateful show today, but I'm getting into it.
Yeah, well, it's not. Look,
You're just being factual. You're just being factual, and you know,
everybody makes a bad decision.
Yeah.
But how many people keep making bad decisions?
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people
allowed to. Yeah.
Some people inherit a ton of money, and they can't make a bad decision because all they have to do is invest it, and that would be Randy Lerner. He can live a life of leisure. It's true with Donald Trump too. He's a brainless motherfucker. But in the end, if you inherited $100 to $200 million from your old man, and you fucked it up, you would have to be in a coma.
Yep.
To accomplish that.
Yep.
So, you know. He trusted somebody else with his balls.
Yeah, it was quite the opposite of balls.
Oh!
Oh!
Point that thing another way. Oh!
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, he was a bit too trusting.
And you know, that would be one way of doing it. Would be saying, okay, you're going to have to name an offense. We're naming an offensive coordinator. We're bringing him in. But the second you do that, I have a philosophy. And I'll tell you why I swing the axe. I don't want to
Yeah.
demean anybody. If somebody is working for me and they're
Yeah,
just, you
Yeah.
don't knock them
Yeah.
down 2 pegs in rank and expect them to be happy campers and continue working for you.
Yeah, you don't demote and then expect,
Right.
situation normal.
It's not like they're going to come up to you afterwards. Mark, you were really right about that.
Yeah.
Boy, I thought that was a smart move, knocking me down. Yeah, great. Thanks. Never works out that way. So the reason I'm calling for his ouster is because it's the way it has to be. Because the only way you're going to get an offensive coordinator in, and I know damn well that, it's not going to happen until the end of the season. I know that. I'm not stupid. But I mention it now because it is what I would call General Sherman's inexorable march to the sea.
Yeah.
It is something that's going to happen, and we're just sitting here waiting for it to happen. And at this point, it's positively going to happen.
Yeah, we gotta wait through another 9 games of nonsense. Yeah.
And, it's not
Okay.
PJ Walker. I think PJ Walker played his ass off for as well as he could.
Yeah.
He made a few good throws, and he hung in the pocket. He showed some guts. He's just not a very good quarterback. He's too short, ladies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the more games he plays, I think he'll actually improve a bit. But do we want to watch that?
Right.
Maybe not.
And it doesn't help when Elijah Moore is running a different pattern than what's called. And again, I mentioned that yesterday, and
Yeah.
he's been on the wrong page with every quarterback he's played with, and they keep saying we're expecting bigger things from him. It's like, what? He's going to run into the stands by mistake? It's like I don't understand it all. Oh God, and really, that's all I have to say. I mean, to analyze a game like this and say, well, who are the winners and the losers? Again, Seattle is the winner and Cleveland's the loser. If you want to prevent this from happening more in the future, you get rid of the coach. Frank, my mouth has gotten me into more trouble over the course of the year, It's like, but
Wow.
you have to understand that if you knew me in person, and it was so funny when I ran over at Bauman's Orchard Shop, the guy recognized me who worked at the store. There's an asterisk that I point out the asterisk, and it's like, I'm not Mr. Moohead. All right.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not going to go up to some women at a nightclub and go, "Oh, balls in the face." I'm not going to do that. The fact of the matter is that this is fun for me.
It's a persona. Everybody who's in the public eye has their stage persona. Yeah.
I don't do anything that is rehearsed. It's all improvisational. So if I say something that is absolutely unfathomable, and I know that if anybody really listened to this program, all right, I would have women's groups halfway up my ass over what I said yesterday. All right. I'm a believer.
Yeah, no need to repeat it. Though.
No, I'm just a believer that people are rewarded for doing well and not promoted on the basis of gender alone. It has to be ability. And I'll tell you something. Women have been subjected to not being raised in the hierarchy of businesses for decades and decades and decades. And, going back to the suffrage movement, for God's sakes, sit down, bitch, you're not going to vote.
If you want to watch a disturbing documentary series, just watch the one that Ken Burns did about the women's suffrage movement and the struggles they had, and particularly the period where black men were allowed to vote, but not women were allowed to vote, and the alliances that were going on between the different groups of of people. It was just unbelievable. Some of the things that were brought out in that documentary. So yeah, no, women have had a hard shake in America over the course of the country.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, it wasn't anything personal. And if you want to know what I said, you go back and watch the post game show. Uh, but I'll tell you another thing here before I get out of here, because it's the truth. We have to have something to talk about in the here and now. All right. The thing that makes the internet is that it's like everybody has, how would I put it, the attention span of a gnat.
Or like Dora in Finding Nemo, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what it's like is, we say, oh, isn't that too bad Matthew Perry died? Isn't that too bad Suzanne Summers died? And then we're on to something else,
Yeah,
where,
the next person who died.
nobody's talking about old news. It's creating new news. And
nobody's talking about people still living in a trailer after Hurricane Katrina happened 17 years ago.
But I'll tell you how quick it is, though.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody talking about Colorado football no more.
Oh, God. I saw that targeting hit. That was assault.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he was proud of it. But, but here's the thing that comes out of it. I mean, and believe me, I don't like shameless self-promoters. I'm not really into that. And Deion Sanders wasn't my favorite player. But he accepted a job at a university where, honest to God, they had no players. And he brought in a bunch of his guys, all right, and got them off to a really good start. And he surprised people.
Yeah.
And I think that it was obvious from the beginning that the defense was lousy at Colorado, but their offense was outscoring the opponent, and they had some exciting stuff going on. But since that hot beginning, now they're 4-4, and they need to win 2 more games to be under consideration for bowl game consideration. But you see, at 4-4 for the season, but in their conference, they're nowhere. They're getting beat by every. It's one thing to have beaten Colorado State barely, but UCLA just beat them, 28-16.
Yeah.
But there are 2 things that I leave with from this game. What Deion said after the game, he said, "Hey, we came out, went right down the field. We didn't get 6, but we got 3. Then we came back and got another 3 the next time we had the ball. We showed some things that we could do. The consistency just isn't there at this point because of the lack of talent at certain positions."
There you go.
Well, I mean, and that's the truth. It's a harsh truth, but the fact is, anybody who believed that he was going to come in and turn them into a 10-2 program or whatever. I mean, he was bringing in some talented players, but he couldn't bring in enough. And the defense is not as good as the offense and all that. And, they've lost 4 of 5. And they're going to have a tough time getting those final 2 wins.
Yeah.
Well,
they had their moment of insanity. It's another thing where.
But that's what I'm saying. It became the short news that we crave, so that we don't have to then talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
All right. And it's now. The final part of it is that the Colorado players called the police because their jewelry was stolen from the UCLA locker room.
Oh, I'm trying not to laugh here.
Yeah, but
that's fucked up.
It is fucked up. But you see, there's a lot of people who, they want to shut a guy like Dion up. There's a reason why I would want to shut him up, but it has nothing to do with the act of his. I'm just tired of him. Yeah. I like people who just do their job and do it well. He has his own way.
Yeah, he's got his own character too. He's got that maverick, character.
But the question is, how, if he thought that he was going to get into Colorado and get out quick and move up a rung to a better school to recruit to
LSU or Florida or somewhere like that.
He has another thing coming. I mean, he did a dynamic job of bringing players in, but if this thing continues to go backward on him, how is he going to bring in the next group of players?
Yeah, and the lot that he has brought in are going to go straight through the portal as well. You got that problem too now.
Yep.
That you didn't used to have.
And of course, he's going to take his offspring wherever he goes. That's right.
Wherever he goes.
He made that perfectly clear. So yeah, a bunch of their jewelry was stolen from their locker room, and the UCLA athletic department is a report was filed to the Pasadena Police Department.
That's criminal. So yeah, but
it is what it is in this world. But yeah, from basically being the toast of the town to getting your jewelry ripped off on the road, that's the only way they can keep Colorado Buffalo football on the map right now, because nobody's watching them no more because they're losing. And nobody loves a loser. No. That's the other thing. What we love is if Britney Spears, and we know she can't write a book because she's trailer trash, but if she writes a book with all kinds of tell-alls in it, of whose dick she had in her mouth for how long and how many she could fit in at one time, and the time she ended up, I wonder if she ever appeared in a Bukkake movie that we don't know about. And she ended up blowing the same guys over and over again. They kept saying, "Oops, I did it again," all over your face. Oh, yeah. I mean, the only way people can stay in the headlines is that they got to do these ridiculous things. I just want to win, man. I'm a fan. I want my team to win. I don't want to be notorious. I just want to win. I think every fan wants to win. We don't need this traveling circus, this bullshit. I want people who make good decisions. And if we lose playing the game our way. We get told, well, the heart and soul of this team is the offensive line and the running game. And then go down fighting that way. Don't be calling that silly shit and defending yourself by being vague at when you're standing up there in front of the press. It's crap. At any rate, I've given you an hour and 3 minutes of my time, and I thank you for giving me your time for watching the programs. Greatly appreciated.
Wow. Well, I feel a bit better anyway. I need. We still haven't done a Peter Alice, though. You got to do a Peter Alice.
Okay, so I'll answer Jason's commentary. Oh, Jason, oh, you think so that the Browns are going to possibly sign a veteran quarterback? Oh, if they do, it would be Johnny Unitas, and he's been dead for decades. Oh, wrong kind of veteran. Or maybe a thank you for your service, veteran. Maybe somebody who is in the Air Force, because they don't really know what a veteran quarterback would even look like. Oh, it's misery. Oh, God, oh. No, I don't think they're looking. I mean, Jacoby Brissett probably wouldn't want to come back and play in the situation. And even if he did want to come back and play, the Browns are going to sit there and try to negotiate. It's like,
again, that would be like getting Kareem Hunt back. It'd be like the ex-girlfriend that we dumped that we get back in again. How is that going to work?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the real question is, what does Washington want for him? And I can't imagine.
Oh,
It's a
Yeah.
1-year contract and it's expired. And he ain't going to come back and play there. Sam Howell's their quarterback. So he's totally
Right.
expendable. So what do they want for him? The fact of the matter is the Browns are not serious. They're not serious. So what can I tell you? We'll see. I mean, what I was told was that the Commanders were kind of holding their ground because they were playing the Eagles this weekend. They ended up losing, made a game of it, 38-31.
Yeah.
But that if they'd won that game, they would be all in and they would keep what they had. But people would be expendable if they lost the game because that puts them at basically 3-5
They're out. Yeah,
and out of
they're
the money. And that they would be looking for draft picks and trying to build their future up. So what I heard was if anything was going to happen with Jacoby Brissett, it would have to happen by Tuesday to get him prepared to play the following Sunday.
Yeah.
So if it ain't happening today or tomorrow, it ain't happening.
Wow.
So that's what I can tell you about what I know about that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I will see you again end of the week come Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Bye-bye.